Ladies and gentlemen, love is not just about what people say to you. Anybody can tell you, I love you. Words are easy. But real love shows up in what a person does. If someone truly loves you, they will always be concerned about your well-being, your happiness, and your growth. Now, there are two powerful questions that reveal real love. If somebody never asks you these two questions, you need to think twice about what role they truly play in your life. The first question is simple but deep. Did you eat? Why does this matter? Because love is about care. Love is about making sure you are okay in the smallest details. When someone asks, did you eat? They're not just asking about food. They're asking, are you taking care of yourself? Are you healthy? Are you nourished? That question carries concern, it carries thoughtfulness, it carries love. The second question is even more powerful. Did you make it home safe? See, real love is not selfish. A person who loves you will think about you even when you're not around. They want to know that you are safe, that you're protected, that you made it through the day okay. That's not about control. That's about genuine care for your life and your safety. These two questions might seem small, but they separate people who just like you from people who genuinely love you. Because love is shown in the details. It's not the big gifts, it's not the fancy words, it's those little everyday check-ins that show, I see you, I care about you, I want you to be okay. So, if you've got somebody in your life asking you these two questions, cherish them. That's real love. And if you don't, maybe it's time to start valuing yourself enough to know the difference. People talk a lot about love. You hear the word every single day. It's in movies, it's in songs, it's in books, and it's on social media. People say it easily, they throw it around casually. I love this, I love that, I love you. But when you really stop and think about it, what is love without action? What is love if it's only a word? Because here's the truth. Anybody can say, I love you. It doesn't take much effort to let those words come out of your mouth. But real love, true love, is always proven by what you do, not just what you say. Think about this. If somebody tells you they care about you, but they never show up when you need them, do they really care? If someone says you mean the world to them, but they're never there in the tough times, do you truly mean that much to them? The answer is simple. Love without action is empty. It's a balloon filled with air, big on the outside but nothing inside. The weight of real love is found in behavior, in consistency, in sacrifice, and in genuine effort. When you love someone, it should show in your actions naturally. You don't have to force it. You don't have to put on a performance. You don't have to constantly remind people with words if your actions are already speaking loudly. Real love doesn't have to be shouted. It is felt through what you do. It's in the little things, the everyday habits, the small gestures that tell somebody, I'm thinking of you. I've got you. I'm here. See, the problem today is that too many people are satisfied with hearing words. They confuse words for love. They confuse attention for affection. They confuse flattery for care. But at the end of the day, when the lights are off and the crowd is gone, you're left with what a person does for you and how they make you feel by their actions. That's what separates talkers from lovers. A person who truly loves you will show it when you're struggling, not just when things are good. They'll show it when you're sick, when you're broke, when you're down, when you're lost. Love is proven most in storms, not in sunshine. Anyone can be around when you're winning, but real love is tested when you're losing. Anyone can show up to celebrate, but real love shows up when you're crying, when you're confused, when you feel like giving up. That's when actions matter more than words. Let me tell you something. Love is patient. Love is consistent. Love puts in effort. If a person truly cares about you, they don't just disappear when things get hard. They don't pick and choose moments to act right. They don't treat you like an option. Their actions show you that you are a priority, not an afterthought. And that's the difference between someone who just wants you around for convenience and someone who truly loves you. When you look back at your life, you'll realize that the people who really loved you weren't always the ones who said it the most. They were the ones who acted on it. Maybe it was a parent who worked long hours to make sure you had food on the table. Maybe it was a friend who checked in when you were going through a rough time. Maybe it was a partner who sat up with you at night when you couldn't sleep, just so you wouldn't feel alone. None of those things require fancy words. None of those things are glamorous, but they are powerful because they show action. Love in action doesn't have to be big or dramatic. Sometimes it's as simple as sending a message to check in. Sometimes it's asking, "Did you eat?" Sometimes it's making sure you got home safe. Sometimes it's remembering the little details that matter to you. These are the signs of genuine love. People who love you don't just say it, they live it. On the flip side, you have to watch out for people who only give you words. They might say everything right, but their actions don't line up. They promise they'll be there, but they don't show up. They say they care, but when you need them most, they disappear. That's not love, that's convenience. And too many people mistake convenience for love. They let smooth talk convince them, even when actions say otherwise. Here's the truth. Love requires effort. It requires sacrifice. It requires putting someone else's needs before your own sometimes. That doesn't mean you lose yourself. It doesn't mean you give up who you are. But it does mean that when you love someone, you're willing to show up for them. You're willing to think about them. And you're willing to make room for them in your life. If someone says they love you but never makes time for you, never supports you, never checks on you, then all you've got are empty words. Think about this in your own life. Who shows you love through action? Who checks in on you? Who makes sacrifices for you? Who encourages you when you're down? Who stands beside you when the road gets rough? Those are the people who really love you. And just as important, ask yourself, how are you showing love to the people you claim to care about? Are you showing up for them, or are you just saying the words? Real love is a commitment, not a convenience. It doesn't run when things get hard. It doesn't vanish when you're no longer at your best. It doesn't disappear when you're not perfect. Real love says, "I'm here anyway," and that "I'm here anyway" has to be proven in what you do, not just in what you say. At the end of the day, people will forget what you promised them. They will forget what you said in the moment, but they will never forget how you made them feel through your actions. They will never forget the times you showed up when they didn't expect you to. They will never forget the times you made them feel seen, heard, and valued. That's what love is. So don't let yourself get fooled by words alone. Don't mistake attention for care. Don't confuse interest for love. Pay attention to actions, because love without action is not love. It's an illusion. And once you learn that, once you truly see it, you'll never waste your time again on people who don't prove their love for you through what they do. When somebody looks at you and asks, "Did you eat?" it might sound like a simple question, but it's one of the most powerful ways love shows up in action. That little question carries a whole world of meaning behind it. It's not really about food. It's not just about whether you had breakfast or dinner. It's about somebody showing concern for your well-being, checking on your health, making sure you're taking care of yourself. That's love in its purest form. See, love doesn't always come with flowers, with diamonds, with fancy dinners. Sometimes love shows up in the smallest gestures. When a person asks you, "Did you eat?" they're really saying, "I was thinking about you. I want to know if you're okay. I care about your health, about your strength, about your life." It's a reminder that somebody out there is concerned about you enough to check the most basic thing, whether you've taken care of your body today. Think about how powerful that is. We live in a world where everybody is busy, everybody is moving fast, everybody is chasing something. People don't slow down often, but when someone pauses their day to ask you, "Did you eat?" what they're saying is, "You matter to me more than whatever else I've got going on." That's love. That's care. That's selflessness. A lot of times we look for love in big ways. We wait for people to buy us something expensive, to make some big announcement, to show off on social media. But that's not what real love looks like. Real love is not always loud. Real love is quiet, consistent, and thoughtful. Real love is a person remembering to check on you when you don't even think about yourself. If you grew up with a parent or a grandparent who always asked you, "Did you eat?" then you know what I'm talking about. They might not have had a lot of money. They might not have been able to give you everything you wanted. But that question was their way of saying, "I love you." That was their way of making sure you were healthy, strong, ready to face the day. Because for them, your health and survival mattered more than anything else. And here's the thing: when someone loves you, they don't just focus on the big picture. They focus on the details. They want to know if you're okay, not just emotionally, but physically. Because love wants you to be well, love wants you to thrive, love wants you to take care of yourself. "Did you eat?" is a small question with a big meaning. It's care disguised as conversation. It's affection hidden in a sentence. Let's be real, there are days when you get so busy you forget about yourself. You forget to eat, you forget to drink water, you forget to rest. You run around chasing goals, handling responsibilities, trying to get everything done. And in the middle of it all, you neglect yourself. But then someone who loves you checks in. They don't just ask how your work is going. They don't just ask about the money. They don't just ask about the stress. They ask, "Did you eat?" Because to them, your well-being matters more than your productivity. That's love. Too many people confuse love with grand expressions. But love isn't always about fireworks. Sometimes love is just a gentle voice making sure you don't skip a meal. Sometimes love is a text in the middle of the day reminding you to take a break. Sometimes love is somebody handing you a plate of food because they noticed you were too tired to cook for yourself. You see, when someone asks, "Did you eat?" it's not about food, it's about presence. It's about being present enough in your life to notice the small things. It's about caring enough to check the details. And that's the kind of love you need to value. That's the kind of love you should recognize. Now, let me tell you this. If someone never asks you questions like that, if they never check on your well-being, you've got to ask yourself, how much do they really care? Because real love is not selfish. Real love thinks about you in ways you don't even think about yourself. Real love wants to see you healthy, safe, cared for. It doesn't ignore the basics, and don't get it twisted. It's not about being controlling. It's not about trying to monitor every little thing you do. It's about genuine concern. It's about a heart that cares enough to check in, because when someone asks, "Did you eat?" they're really saying, "I don't want you to go without. I don't want you to hurt. I don't want you to neglect yourself." That's love speaking in the simplest language possible. The most beautiful thing about love is that it's not complicated. People try to complicate it. They try to make it about money, about looks, about status, about big displays. But real love is simple. It's in the little things, like a question about whether you had your meal. It's in those consistent, thoughtful moments where someone makes you feel cared for, valued, and remembered. Let me tell you something else. When you find somebody who loves you in those little ways, hold on to them. Because those are the people who will ride with you through life. Those are the people who won't just be there for the good times, but will make sure you're okay in the tough times. They'll notice when you're tired. They'll notice when you're stressed. They'll notice when you've been too caught up in life to take care of yourself. That's rare, and that's precious. And here's the flip side. You've got to be that person for someone else too. Love is not a one-way street. It's not just about receiving care, it's about giving it too. Ask the people you love, did you eat? Check in on them. Make sure they're okay. Sometimes that one little question can brighten their whole day. Sometimes that small gesture can make them feel seen and loved in a way they didn't even realize they needed. Because you never know what somebody is going through. Maybe they're too busy to think about themselves. Maybe they're going through a hard time and they need someone to remind them they matter. Maybe they're struggling quietly and your question is the only moment in the day when they feel cared for. Don't underestimate the power of those little words. At the end of the day, love is not proven by how loudly you can say it. Love is proven by how consistently you can show it. And one of the simplest yet most powerful ways to show love is by checking on someone's well-being. That's what "Did You Eat?" is all about. It's a symbol of care, a sign of affection, a reminder that someone is thinking of you, even in the smallest ways. And those smallest ways, they're the biggest proof of love.